My boyfriend said his exes are crazy. So I did some research. My boyfriend, 31 male, is great and kind to me, 31 female. We are extremely alike, but we make our difference work in our favor. I love him. We've made plans to marry in the next 4 or so years, depending on how life and jobs go. It is basically a promise to visit the option to marry one day. And it has allowed us to start saving since a big wedding is what we would both want. By the way, this comes from user Wartworth, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I have a son from a previous marriage, and he is just great to my son. They have a sort of friend relationship since my ex-husband is an active father and we have joint custody. The problem is that, and I just recently found out about this through conversations with him, his family, friends, and just the way he acts when we see them out in public, he says all his exes, every single one of them, is crazy. There's about 10 that I know of, and that is weird to me. My ex-husband and I don't exactly have the most ideal relationship. We won't ever be best friends, but I wouldn't call him crazy, and I feel the same about my other exes. I'm never going to be friends with them. They are exes for a reason, but none of them are bad people, really, excluding one that includes a very long story I won't get into here, and I wouldn't call them crazy. If I see them out and about, I always at least try to wave or say hi, even if I don't really want to see them. It's just polite, I think, to acknowledge them. And I know it's awkward for both parties sometimes, but I think dodging them and running away would be more awkward. I mean, we're in our 30s. I actually have a professional relationship with one of them, so he emails me work-related stuff once a month, and we are always cordial and professional. And one is a chef at this restaurant I love, and I'd never avoid it just to never see him. We just smile and nod at each other if he happens to be there. They get the same treatment I'd give just about anyone. My ex, though, apparently dodges them, runs, and does everything in his power never to have to speak to or remember or be reminded of any of his exes ever again. He says he blocks them on everything, which he showed me one day when we were having a debate about it. It was about 20 names. I didn't really have time to count. All females, all blocked. They are all exes and dates that didn't work out. That's the default for him. Now, people have crazy exes. I get it. I have one of them, but 20? No one has 20 crazy exes or dates, unless you are really, really bad at choosing your mates/dates. Or you're the crazy one. I recently ran into one of his ex-girlfriends in a coffee shop. I didn't know her, but she knew me because we have mutual friends. She seemed nice, so I was polite and we got to talking about my boyfriend. Just normal, how is he kind of stuff. I couldn't help but ask her how he treated her while they were together, and her response bothered me. She said that they were inseparable for years. They had plans to marry and have children, then they split. Like she went to stay at her friend's house since he had to work and she didn't want to be alone, and he took what little stuff he had at her apartment and just split. He never talked to her again. He blocked her on everything, just ran for it, and never checked on her again. I thought, maybe she's being dramatic. Everyone has a side to the story, but her friend who was there that day happens to be my friend too, and I asked her, and she confirmed all the tears and unanswered texts and how he said he would pick her up and didn't. It left a bad taste in my mouth, but I asked him because I wanted to know his side. He says, like he does about everyone he's ever dated, that she was crazy and he had to leave, no choice. She would have stalked me. The thing is that it's the same thing he says about every girl he's ever dated. My grandmother, my light of rationality and truth, told me that I'm probably going to end up as the crazy ex when and if he and I break up, because you can tell a lot about a person by the way they treat the people they no longer love. But she is very old school. She dated maybe 3 people her whole life. I just suddenly have a bad feeling. He treats his exes badly, he talks about them badly, he runs from them in public, and they can't all be crazy. 20 women are not trying to track him down in town. He is cute, but no one is that cute. I have a kid and a career, and I'm in my 30s. I am way too boring and exhausted to be the crazy ex, but I think he might make me into one in his head if we ever split, and it just seems disrespectful to me. Yeah, of course it is. I need some perspective because I'm over-empathetic and extremely sensitive to the feelings of others. I asked my ex-husband if he had more than one crazy ex, and he said he didn't have any. But if he did, that is the sort of mistake you only make once. I'm not sure I want to be with someone who continually keeps making that mistake, and if he is lying about them, I don't want to be with someone who disrespects people like that. I don't even know how to begin a conversation with him about this. How do I start? Is it normal to have that many crazy exes? We got an update. I just wanted to give an update since I was still getting comments. I had a lot of good advice in the comments. Thank you. Basically, I should have listened to my grandmother. I sat down with my boyfriend last night and we talked. It has been 2 years, but I feel like I barely know him, the real him that other people get to know. I asked about his exes, and I did this because how he treats people matters to me, and it should to anyone. How he treats his exes and just people in general is the exact way I can expect him to treat me when he no longer has any use for me. The talk was long. The talk was hard. The talk needed to happen if I'm going to marry this man, and if I'm going to continue to let him have a relationship with my son. He has a history of running and always has. That's how he deals with problems, and his default is to avoid actually having a conversation about hard things with people because he wants to spare them feelings. But really what he's saying is that he just doesn't want to have to deal with having an impact on their feelings. It is cowardly, unkind, and isn't something I desire in a partner. Although he tried to tell me I was different than all those other girls. He needs therapy, obviously, so I told him that we're breaking up and no longer together, but I'd give him time to find a place to move. I own the house. He was free to crash in the guest bedroom or office if that's what he wanted. I told him that he needed to take a break from women and work on himself. He said he loved me and wanted to be with me. He tried to claim his ex was lying. He claimed a lot of those girls were one-night stands. Maybe a few, but I know one or two who he mentioned as one-nights that were long-term relationships. I was done hearing him talk badly about people while telling me he was a good person. So I ended it. He promised to change, and I told him I'd love to see that in him, but I'm not waiting around for it. I care about him as a person, and I want him to go and learn better ways to treat people. But I can't be his partner, not with how he treats people. I can't love someone like that. I didn't block him, I didn't run away or change the locks and never speak to him again. I even gave him a hug and asked him how he was doing because he was crying. I gave him more kindness than he ever offered any of those women. He asked me to give him a chance to get therapy and get better and apologize to his ex-fiancée. I told him that if he went to therapy and apologized to her and to some of the others, then he and I could talk, but he couldn't keep treating people like that, not if he ever wanted respect. Basically, we were going to take a soft break, but not really break up so he could work on those things. I even held his hand for a little bit after it was all over and wished him well. He asked if he could still pick up my son after camp and take him out like they had planned. I agreed that I thought that was a good idea. While I was at work this morning, he moved a lot of his stuff out of my house and unfollowed me on all social media. I checked up on him and all my calls went right to voicemail. He never picked my son up from camp. I'm pretty sure he did what he always does.
I'm shocked.
What do you know? And